BB851, turn right, heading 180. 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
For those interested in seeing a backlog of over 18,000 plane spotting pictures from LAX uploaded, I'm doing so over on my Twitter while we are all in quarantine. Now, the situation at American Airlines has been constantly changing, and to say that it hasn't been hard to follow, I think for almost anyone, is most definitely an understatement, as it's not just been with American Airlines. Rather, essentially every single airline still operating today, or in the world more generally, as we know some have suspended operations. Today, I'll be essentially running through all the major changes they've made, moving from when the pandemic of COVID-19 started to where we currently sit right now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a little bit of a longer video. First, we need to backtrack a number of weeks, more towards the start of March, when you could argue the outbreak of COVID-19 was yet to be completely felt around the world. At this point, American Airlines had announced that it'd only be reducing their summer peak capacity by some 10%. However, they'd ultimately see a 55% cut in their trans-Pacific services. Meanwhile, for the month of April, they'd reduced their domestic capacity by some 7.5%. Ultimately, with a fleet like theirs, this minimal 7.5% cut makes quite a difference, and as time passed, this would feel like such a small change. At the time of this, they also announced multiple suspensions and reductions to specific services to various different countries, especially being seen in Europe thanks to the travel ban that was implemented around this time by the President Donald Trump. A matter of days, though, after originally announcing this decision, American Airlines came back and said that they'd actually be cutting their total international capacity by a whopping 75%. Now, at this point, it had very few major international services still flying. However, Australia and New Zealand were indeed on the chopping list for the airline at this point. Meanwhile, more and more services into Europe were set to be suspended following specific flights that were going to be operated in the future. Of course, we're talking now around March 15th, in order to get citizens back to their countries as soon as possible amid this pandemic. However, with all these changes and the aviation industry going into the unknown, a number of airlines also had to adjust the retirements of their aircraft. For American Airlines, the notable two out of the couple of types was the Boeing 757 and Boeing 767. While both had already been planned on being retired, eventually, ultimately the changes meant they would depart sooner than first expected, and to be honest, rather rapidly. In fact, within a matter of weeks, it truly turned out to be. This is similar to what went on with KLM's Boeing 747s, which now have indeed retired, with the final 747 operating its final flight just days ago. The 767 with American Airlines was actually specifically expected to fly for at least another 21 months, through to the end of 2021 or so. It'd allow the airline to therefore prepare for new aircraft like the A321XLR. However, this rapid retirement will mean, should the industry get back to normal, they'll spend multiple summer periods with reduced services over past years with missing aircraft types, and of course the A321XLR not even flying yet or having been built with Airbus. It's a difficult situation for the carrier and many around the world. The end results of these cuts have been mass parking ups of quite literally their entire fleet around the country. The pictures are quite incredible, as it's what I feel quite surreal to see a fleet of normally flying aircraft completely parked up, especially when you see the likes of the 777s and other types that still have multiple years left of flying. The pictures can be best compared, I feel, to what we've seen with the 737 MAX for over a year now. However, for this, it does indeed feel different, with almost every single carrier around the globe parking up their jets at various storage facilities and airports, using really any available space made to them. One of the latest updates that has occurred in the past 12 hours roughly to the situation over at American Airlines is the carrier seeking some US $12 billion in state aid following the outbreak of COVID-19. The financial support being provided from the US government would help employees for the foreseeable future. There'd be no cuts in pay rates or benefits for the next 6 months or so for employees. In addition, the airline could provide their older employees with a handy retirement option that could suit them best. The chief executive said, "These funds are being distributed to ensure continuation of essential airline services and protect jobs. We intend to apply for these funds and are confident that, along with our relatively high available cash position, they will allow us to fly through even the worst of potential future scenarios." Now, that's the current situation at American Airlines. Flights cancelled, aircraft grounded, older aircraft being retired, and so much more, including the airlines seeking funds. As always, thank you very much for your support. If you have any thoughts, do feel free to drop them in the comments below, or as mentioned at the start of this video, across over on my Twitter. It's been a pretty difficult time for all, especially here on the platform, so I do appreciate every single time you come and watch the videos. I hope to see you next time. Stay safe, and as always, cheers.